Hi, Vanessa.
Hi.
One of the questions that I wanted to hear you answer is you're clearly a lifelong Star Wars fan. Do you have a favorite childhood memory of your experience with Star Wars?
Yeah, it's so interesting because it's almost like my life can be organized around where I was the premiere of each one. Now, the first one I did not see at some big premiere. I sort of fell into it by accident, and then my whole life erupted from that point on. But I have like 5 different moments, seeing the different films. I mean, clearly, when I saw A New Hope and I saw the Imperial Destroyer sort of come across the screen, and there's that low rumble and all the music and all that, that grabbed hold of me, and that's really the biggest, the most special memory. But it's funny, there are a few. We probably don't have time to go through each of the 6 films and where I was. but I love that I can reflect on my life in that way. That's pretty profound.
So then I'll kind of ask a follow-up then. What was your reaction when you first found out that you were going to be playing Hera on Rebels?
Oh, I had sort of a biochemical thing happen where I couldn't breathe. And my knees fell out from underneath, and I started crying, to be honest. I was just so grateful, and I literally kept saying, like, I have no idea how I got so lucky. I just kept saying that over and over. I was like, thank you, thank you, thank you, and I hope I can do it justice. And I have such a reverence for it that it's almost odd, being such a huge fan of it, to step through and sort of pierce that veil and go into the creation of, the new stories that are actually, we're visiting the formation of the Rebel Alliance in our segment of the narrative. But these are stories that are untold, and I've had my speculations, so I'm sort of learning as I go, and then I have to be very quiet until you guys see what I've been experiencing. I have to flail in private, which is kind of the hardest part, the cone of silence. And I met Mark Hamill about 12 years ago, and he was at my voiceover agency, and he was sitting on the couch, and I opened the door, and it was Luke Skywalker. He was sitting on the couch. It was Luke Skywalker sitting on the couch, dude. I could not speak to him. I turned away. I didn't even go in to read my audition that day because it was just too much. So to work alongside people who created the Clone Wars, I have a similar reverence for all things Clone Wars. I've had to sort of make it okay that I'm stepping into that world. It's been slightly awkward, but the best kind of awkward I can imagine. A real quality problem. How's that? It's an honor. In a phrase, it's an honor.
So, Vanessa, I know that a lot of people kind of ask you all the same kind of questions, but so I'm going to ask you something a little bit different.
Okay.
If the Millennium Falcon and the Ghost were in a race,
Ooh.
Which one would win?
I'm going to go with the Falcon every time. Sorry, dude. I mean, no offense against my very own vehicle, but I don't know. The Falcon wins for me every time. I mean, I've thought about it. I mean, it remains to be seen. We'll see what the Ghost can do. I do think Hera's piloting skills are impressive, and some of the things that I've seen animated blow my mind, and I'm so proud of all the work that they've done. But hands down, I mean, I love the Falcon. I got my Lego set upstairs, so it's like every day I kind of greet it, and then I move on. So I'm going to go with the Falcon.
That's fair, I guess.
We'll get more information about the Ghost. We can revisit that question later. How's that?
Yeah, either now we'll have to reenact it with like a Lego Falcon.
Yes! I'm in. Let's do this. Very cool.
Oh, is it back to me here?
Sure.
Let's see. Okay, so Vanessa, you've talked a lot about how exciting this is for you. Can you recall anything that was unexpected, that when you went in for it, any part of this experience that you've been just really surprised by?
Well, there are a couple things. There are certain people that I've met, like Simon Kinberg. I'm a huge fan of him, and of course Dave Filoni and all of Lucasfilm. It is so sublime to be colleagues with these people that, again, it's almost like I disassociate because I can't believe I'm actually... Simon Kinberg is the nicest dude, and I had just seen X-Men, so I was freaking out. And I'm standing there, and he's just like any other guy. He's so kind and lovely and charming and unassuming, and, generally that's sort of the vibe of the whole show. And not that I expected them to be sort of cold and distant, but it's been really wonderful to kind of step into this creative family where they really ask us what we think, and we're able to participate in the creative process. And Dave welcomes any lines that we want to contribute. Freddie comes up with some really funny stuff, and we all give each other feedback. Freddie helps Taylor a lot of the time, which I find interesting because it's sort of like a Jedi, watching a Jedi train his Padawan, literally. There's that element, sort of the cozy nature of the creative process. And I'm trying to think, there have just been so many unexpected things. I think when I went to Star Wars weekends, and I'm sitting on the top of a car, and the music is playing from A New Hope, and all these people are screaming. That moment was pretty insane. I don't think you could ever explain what that feels like to be in one geographical location. Well, if you've been to Star Wars Celebration, which I've never done, you probably know what I'm talking about, but that collective energy celebrating what George Lucas created, I've never felt anything like that in my entire life, and never would have guessed when I was watching the movie in 1977 that I would ever be that close to so many people. I felt really like I've been basically loving Star Wars by myself for the longest time, and I feel like I've finally found the whole fan community, and it's just been really special. And I knew that anyone, I see a dude in the market wearing a Millennium Falcon shirt, it's on like Donkey Kong. We talked for like an hour, and his wife's looking at me like I have ulterior motives, and I don't. We're just rapping about, episode 7 or... I have instant friendships with people who are fans of Star Wars, and I knew that, but on that level was really shocking. I'm very excited to go to Celebration. My head will probably explode. Yeah, I think on the professional level, it's sort of the kindness and the collaboration and the wonderful fans and really lifelong friends that I've made. That's never happened. I've played Wonder Woman. And I'm a comic book geek. Believe me, I've lock horns with DC fans. My friend loves Superman. We go at it. I've never bonded with anyone. I've never high-fived someone over Wolverine. No offense to any of those franchises. It's just surprising how much of a family is born out of the Star Wars saga. Don't get me wrong, I can wax poetic on Marvel and DC. But you know what I mean? It's really a beautiful thing. Maybe with Guardians of the Galaxy, they will, people will be high-fiving each other on that level with that franchise, but to date, I've never experienced anything like this. It's a great community.
So, Vanessa, to go back to something you were saying about, the lines and stuff you guys are saying in the shows, I want to ask a question about a line from Spark of the Rebellion, since I think all of us have seen it. But there was some allusion to a relationship between Kanan and Hera in the short clip we saw at Star Wars Weekend, and then in the novel of A New Dawn, and then there's the line where she calls him love. How do you see their relationship? Is it like Han and Leia to you?
No, not at all.
Okay.
No, I think that Hera is incredibly organized around her mission. I think it is the most important thing to her. It transcends any silliness by comparison, like romance. This is my personal feeling. I maybe more will be revealed to me in terms of the plot. But from what I can tell, there is an affection there. I think she calls him love the way my friends in the UK say, hello, love. Oh, love. You know, it's not like literally, I love you. It's more of a term of endearment and an affection and a sweetness that they share. But I honestly, they need fuel and they need food. And, you know, cuddles at night, not really that important. So at least from where I'm standing, I think there may be an attraction there, but my guess is that there is so much, the stakes are far too high to be engrossed in something as petty as romance. That's my personal feeling, and I really respect her for that. I wanted to see more in A New Dawn. I really hoped that I would learn, like, now, see, look, they had this huge history. I never read that. So I do get the sense that they're attracted to each other, but I think that they respect each other and honor each other in a way that's almost deeper than that kind of a relationship. They're platonic, but that, you know, doesn't mean there isn't potential. I think there is. But that they're way more organized around saving people's lives and, you know, preventing future genocide. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not on their mind, really. I don't know. That's just my experience. Whereas Han and Leia is like the greatest love story of all time, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I love you. I know. Are you kidding me? I know that Kanan is a Jedi cowboy and all that. Yes, he is a maverick. And yes, Hera has that wit and biting humor that Leia has. And they do sort of go back and forth. But I think Han and Leia are on a totally different level, and they were destined to be together, in my opinion. But I'd love to hear your thoughts. I mean, we're going to learn together is what I am guessing at this point. Well, you know, we'll see. We'll see if there is a romantic connection. At this time, I don't get a sense of that. But more will be revealed.
I think they make a lot of good points. I think that Kanan is head over heels for Hera, though. If just from A New Dawn, they just look from the books. He likes her.
Okay, look, I think Kanan is organized around those agendas, definitely. But unlike Han, he's not necessarily in it for money. He lost his Jedi Master in Order 66. He has been not mortally, but deeply wounded by that injury. His soul is forever damaged. He has lost everything. And he's wondering if he still can believe in the Force. He's got a lot on his mind. And I think that romance is somewhat of a diversion from the pain that he has experienced at the hands of the Empire. And that's totally different than Han having to pay a bit of a debt and feeling the pressure from Boba on his back. Or, you know, so not that the stakes weren't high in all of the original trilogy films. Obviously, they were quite high, but I don't know. People are more damaged directly at this point, it seems. So, anyway.
So I also have to kind of ask, obviously you provide kind of the voice of Hera, but have you had any input into like how she shows up in A New Dawn or how she develops throughout the series?
Nope. Nope. No, I learn along with you guys, sort of. I mean, I have a few months ahead of you, but yeah, no, I delight in discovering. I mean, I read A New Dawn in like a night. Because I was like, give me more. I wanted more. I had no idea what they were going to do with that plot. I mean, Dave has mentioned certain things about her history and so on and so forth. Some of them I'm not allowed to talk about, so I won't. But I'm really interested in finding out more along with you guys. But I have not had any input, nor would I want to, as a matter of fact. I love discovering it, so not that they wouldn't want to hear my opinion, they might, but that hasn't happened yet.
Sure.
So, Vanessa, when you're reading A New Dawn, and obviously, I mean, you know, to the outside world, you are Hera, but it's also a separate product that, like you said, you're not involved in directly. So are you able to read it as just a book, or was it constantly going through your mind that this is something that's setting up, you know, the kind of person that you're playing?
That's a great question. In reading it, I felt like I was given more information to help understand how Hera is organized. I know that it helped me from the point after which I read it. From then on, I had such a deep sense for the lives that have been lost that she witnessed, the injustices. I also was able to see how cunning and perceptive she is, how discerning, how calculated, how skilled. And I mean, these were words prior to reading A New Dawn, but once I really immersed myself in that, I felt like I really, really understood why she yearns to help build the Rebel Alliance, although she doesn't even have that language. You know, she doesn't know that she's doing that per se, because they're just sort of living day to day. But I respected Hera even more after reading A New Dawn. So it was almost like food for an actor prepares or something, you know. It gave me a lot more history and context, not the bit about did they ever have a romance, however, obviously, but it did help me understand her, and also she wasn't that quick to get with Cannon, and I got to see more how and why she chooses people to travel along with her, what her priorities are. So yes, I mean, I read it as a fan of Hera, but I think it was more a tool for understanding her better, to bring her to life for you guys. It was exceedingly helpful. I'm assuming you guys have read it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. Whew.
No, you just spoiled all of it for us.
Yeah, I know. I was like, oh, crap, spoiler alert. Uh-oh. What?
So speaking of Hera choosing kind of the crew that she's going to have on the Ghost, there's a certain little character that appears in the movie premiere on Spark of Rebellion. His name is Kitwar. When did you first see him, and do you love him as much as I do?
Kitwar. I don't think I've seen Kitwar. I'm sorry, but
you haven't seen the premiere movie yet?
No, I saw the premiere movie. Kitwar,
the baby Wookiee.
Oh, Kitwar! I didn't know that was his name. Oh my God, that little guy! Oh, pulling on my heartstrings, right? Yeah, no,
for real.
Forgive me. Sorry. There are so many names, and then it's like centuries until I see something animated. I'm flailing so hard at the premiere that catching the little Wookiee's name, forgive me. Oh, that's hilarious. I'm sorry. Yes, that was a very touching scene. I wanted to like scream at someone to save that little Wookiee. And I'm so glad that Ezra did the right thing. because we read these things on the script, they're sort of they're words on the page. Like, you can't quite convey how that's going to impact you as a viewer. When you see those big eyes and how sad he looked, and I'm so glad that he was reunited with his family there. Yes, of course, I love Kitwar.
Well, just so you know, I'm starting a hashtag campaign of We Want More Kitwar.
Oh, I love it. That's so awesome. Okay, I'll be like the 10,000th person to like that and join you in your mission.
I think he should join the crew of the Ghost eventually, when he gets older, of course.
Well, he did say, and Sabine translated, if you ever need us, the Wookiees will be there. So that's a good sign.
Sounds like second season material to me.
Let's do this. Kitwar goes to college. Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, I'm sorry I missed the poor kid's name. Forgive me.
I only knew it because I read the visual guide.
Of course. Yeah. That's so cool. I have that upstairs too. Yeah, I'll go look into that. Brush up on my Wookiee names. That's so awesome. I join your movement right now.
Well, I'm going to get behind anything that's cute and cuddly. I mean, come on.
There it is.
You're going to put something with that big of eyes in there?
I know. It's so funny. Everyone asks, what's your favorite film? And I say Return of the Jedi. And they're like, oh, you like Ewoks? Yeah, Ewoks are fine. No, that's not why I like that movie. But they are kind of cute. I mean, come on. Anyway, so Eric, Steven, anything?
Oh, so this might be a dangerous question coming up after Kitwar, but other than Hera, and kind of just going off of Spark of Rebellion, because that's all we've seen, if you had to pick one character to be Hera's crewmate on the Ghost, who would you pick?
One out of all of them? Oh, that is
out of all of them.
Wow, that is a really good question, and my brain is rifling through. I mean, I'll just tell you what I'm thinking. First of all, I'm like, dude, you need the Jedi. Go with Kanan. You want someone with Force sensibility by your side. Then I'm like, but without Chopper, who's going to man the back gunner? That guy fixes everything. Sabine, she's got her specialty in explosives. She's amazing. How could I live without her? Zeb's brawn and his humor. Oh, man. My first thought was Sabine because she's Mando. But I don't know that I could live without any of the other characters because we all bring such essential, unique talents to the crew. That is, I'm going to have to get back to you on that one. That is a really tough question to answer. Yeah.
That's fine, too. It was meant to be, the really hard question, the one you can't answer.
Yeah, I don't accept that. I mean, I think, and that's the success of the writing, that the way this motley crew, everyone keeps calling us a motley crew, but this band of rebels, the way they fall together is it's so lovely how they all complement one another. I mean, Ezra is hilarious to me. His swagger is so awesome. And his ignorance simultaneously. It is just, I love that kid. Yeah, Taylor's always reading the most fascinating literature. Like, I look over, and he's reading Pema Chodron, and I mean, I hope I'm not revealing things he doesn't care for the public to know about him, but, I mean, Still waters run deep. That kid has got a lot going on in his mind. It's so fun to watch him. This is his first voiceover job, and this is the first one he's ever auditioned for. And he's fallen into the Star Wars saga of all things. And yeah, he really is a lot like Ezra because he has this, humor that he brings. And yeah, I wish you guys could be at the record sessions to see what I'm talking about. He's hilarious.
I think we wish we could be too.
Yeah, I know, right? I know. That's a great question.
The sessions that you guys have together. Obviously, this is sort of Dave's second run at doing this kind of thing for Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Has he given any indication or said anything about the ways in which Clone Wars sort of prepared him or made him better for working with actors on Rebels?
No, he hasn't said anything to that effect. But I mean, I'm sure working with those geniuses on the Clone Wars, I'm sure that gave him plenty of practice at discovering how to speak to actors. He's really great. I mean, I've said this in other interviews, but he meets with us prior and sort of explains the beginning, middle, and end of the episode. Obviously, we've all read it the night before or the week before, but he sort of organizes us around the agenda, the feeling, why this is important in the overall narrative, and we do sort of like a locker room group huddle. We break, and then we break the script down, and he cracks jokes the whole time, and it stays really light and fun, and we all obviously focus and care a huge amount about it, and we get the work done. But he hasn't mentioned anything. I mean, my guess is that guy has so much going on that he wouldn't even have time to think that thought. He's like, the guy is I don't even understand the work schedule that they have. They really are creating such magical things and so quickly. But that's also a really good question. He's never mentioned it. Yeah.
I see.
So, Vanessa, did you know that James Arnold Taylor was going to be in Rebels?
Okay. No. And when I got that script and I saw his message, the one that you've seen, I screamed so loud that my neighbors thought I was being assassinated. I was like, yes, oh my God. Yeah, the moment I read that on the script, well, actually, I wasn't sure if it was going to be James. I prayed that it would be. I was just thrilled to see Obi-Wan's name on the page. And then I ran into him, and yes, I was so happy to see and hear him in the episode. Man, that happens almost every script. I have to be careful where I read it because I'll either start crying because some of these things are so momentous. I mean, for hardcore Star Wars people, there are things that are going to happen in this story that like give me chills, literally give me chills. Yeah, seeing Obi-Wan's name on the page was such a relief. and I'm so glad that he's in the show. So
So it sounds like what you're saying is there's going to be things like that will make us go like, wow, they really are paying close attention to like things that have happened in the past.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the whole team, the entire creative team holds the history in such high regard that, I mean, Pablo Hidalgo, the lord of all Star Wars knowledge, that dude's on hand, and I mean, he breaks it down. It's next level. He's next level. Yeah, there are elements that harken back to things that are very, very moving, and also pull us forward into the original trilogy in ways that it'll echo forward. And you think like, well, wait a minute. So when this happened and that happened, what? There's a lot of that too.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, this is going to be a kind of another odd question. But, to paint the picture,
Sure.
If someone up in Lucasfilm, I don't know, maybe Dave, maybe someone else, has come to you and they need a one-word tagline for season 1 of Rebels, and for whatever reason they decide that you are the person to give it. You give one word to the season, what would you pick?
Wow. One word?
One word. It kind of goes underneath the movie posters and things like that.
Gosh, that is a really good question. I've got like 3 rattling around. One, only one. I want to say believe, but also the word hope comes to my mind, and spark, none of which would look good on a poster. But I'll explain them. Believe because their faith in their cause drives them, and it's really astonishing to see what a group of people can do when their actions tell you who they are. They're not just talking. They believe what they say and they're doing it. And that kind of faith in a mission of any kind is something I want to watch every week. And I would say hope because quite literally this is what is driving us towards a new hope. And when things are bleak and seem so hopeless all around them, the possibility of, and I say possibility because they don't know where they're heading, as we don't now in our own lives, but that they let that hope guide them despite carnage all over. And then I love that they say the spark of the rebellion. The word spark would look horrible alone on a poster. But the idea of it, I said this, I spoke to these mommy bloggers, and I said to them, I said, you guys are literally embodying the idea of, on a scale in their own personal lives, that, we have these sort of sparks, these ideas that, let's say, inspiration, and to actually do something with it. I have like a million great ideas. I don't necessarily act on all of them. Do you know what I'm saying? That if we all followed through on some of our plans to make things better, and we actually saw it through to its natural end, that would be a profound thing for us to see in our own lives. But I think it's also something that would drive me to want to watch it every week, is to see where that one spark that brought these people together and sort of threw them into these crazy circumstances, these adventures in outer space, if you will, that they just keep coming out on top. They never know that that's going to be the case. So, yeah, man, I don't know in one word.
Those sounded good to me, so.
Yeah, I almost want to say buckle up, but that's 2. Because you definitely should buckle up, because it's going to be a wild ride. It is fantastic. I'm so thrilled. Yeah.
As we look back at, we're looking forward at Rebels, and we just had these Clone Wars story reels posted. And I know you've said that you've watched the Clone Wars before. Do you have like a favorite story arc or something that to you really speaks to the whole purpose of the show?
Well, to me, the whole bit on Onderon really, it seems to foreshadow the Rebel Alliance with Saw Gerrera and Anakin and Ahsoka go back and sort of teach them how to fight against the oppression that they're experiencing on Onderon. I think it's season 5, sort of somewhere at the beginning. Yeah, wow. It that to me was very profound. I want Bon Terry to come back. I really hope that some of those characters get to be revisited, because I think that we need all the help we can get. And those are sort of seeds that were planted even in the Clone Wars that I really, really hope that we can make use of the distinctions that they made in that episode. And I believe one of them they were accused of being terrorists, and they specified that the difference between terrorism and rebellion is, terrorism is just sort of random acts. Obviously, there are philosophies behind those acts, but a rebellion is about reacting to something that is wrong, oppression, genocide. That rebellion is born out of love for humanity rather than a violence for violence sake. And obviously, the writers of Clone Wars did it in a much more eloquent fashion than I just did. But I do think that these characters in Star Wars Rebels are organized the same way. They are not out, kicking butt because they can. I mean, Hera's a very skilled fighter on land, in the air. She's only doing that because she cares about the lives that may be lost if she doesn't. And every time that happens, I do think to that episode in Clone Wars and how they learn to fight against and do the right thing and risk everything to turn over the government or whatever and help liberate their people. So anyway, that's my long-winded answer to that question.
That's great.
Well, so you just mentioned that we're talking about the Clone Wars, and you just mentioned one of the characters you'd like to see come back. But if you had 3 characters, and we obviously know you have no control over this, from the Clone Wars that you would like to see interact with the crew on the Ghost, who would they be?
Oh, dude. That's a great question. Okay, well, if Asajj Ventress could come back, her role at the end there, she was kind of a mercenary. She could kind of go either way. I would give my left arm for Asajj to join our battle. I mean, how dope would that be? Her lightsabers alone. And, of course, Ahsoka. Dude, come on, please. But I'm trying to think... who else would be really key outside of the other characters that I mentioned? Well, because, Obi-Wan's already in it.
Well, I'll tell you one of mine.
Yeah,
I want to sit.
Sure.
One of mine. I want Hondo to show up.
Nice. Yeah. All right. Well, I got you there. I love Savage, but we wouldn't see that guy or any of the characters in over in Darthmere. Trying to think who would be helpful. I keep going. Hey, you know what? Maybe we bring back a little Chomson Dula. Or Ayla Sakura, bring some Twi'lek action to the party. That wouldn't hurt my feelings. Ayla. I loved Ayla Sakura. Anyway.
So do I.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we'll see together. You never know, man. You never know.
No, you don't ever know. That's one of the things I love about Dave, too, is that you really never know what he'll do.
Yeah.
And
that guy Vizondo kind of reminds me of Hondo a little bit.
He does a little bit.
Yeah. But, yeah, I hope Hondo comes back. That would be cool.
I would love to see his interaction with him, between Kanan and him. I think that would be fantastic.
Oh, yeah. With his motley crew, right? Hondo definitely had some wacky people following him around. Man,
Stephen, I think you're
really good questions. Thank you for all these. They're very thought-provoking.
Yeah, so another kind of reaction question, but obviously I want to say it was earlier today or yesterday, we found out that Rebels had been renewed for Season 2. Like, how did it hear to find out that you'd be doing this for another year?
I had a couple people on Twitter DM me this morning, congratulations, and I was like, thank you. I had no idea what they were talking about. And then one fan emailed me and said, congratulations. And I said, where did you hear this? Because I don't really know why you're telling me this, and how do you know about it? Like, what? And then he emailed me the Hollywood Reporter thing, and and then I thought, okay, this isn't like a dream. This is really happening. So yeah, that it was an interesting morning at the gym for me. Yeah, I've never been recognized for anything I've ever done. Literally, I've lived this anonymous lifestyle. Black Widow, Mary Jane, Black Canary, Poison Ivy. No one cares, which is fine by me. I don't need to be recognized. But I'm over lifting some weights, and some guy comes up to me and he's like, "You're in the new Star Wars cartoon." And I dropped the weights and I said, "I'm sorry, what?" I've never been recognized anywhere for anything. So, it was weird. All these people were talking to me in the gym this morning. And, I might want to start, fixing my hair when I show up there. I just put it back in a ponytail. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, it's been an interesting day. I'm thrilled to hear that. Yeah, it's a really good day. Yeah. So
what do you think is the biggest, or maybe just a misconception about how you do this job? Because I feel like a lot of fans probably assume that either you are involved in certain ways that you're not, or that you have a certain amount of responsibility for story material when maybe you don't. And I feel like that clouds a lot of perceptions. Is there anything that you see that you want to maybe say, here's how this actually works?
Well, I think I have more to say on that with regard to the Star Wars games that I've done, because most of those I played Jan Ors, and I played a couple of Jedi. I've done a bunch of different roles, and all of those were recorded by ourselves. But the stuff that you guys actually would see in the game, if you played it, you would think that we were all in the same room together recording at the same time. That was shocking to me, to actually find those things on YouTube and see how they seamlessly came together. So someone may see something like that and think, oh, wow, they worked really well together. It's like I never even knew who was playing whom, because I was alone in a room with someone up north, from Lucasfilm on the phone directing me, and I walked in, I read things, I left. And so I wouldn't have guessed that it would all come together like that. Whereas I think our process is pretty self-explanatory. I mean, what you would imagine, or maybe I take it for granted because it's just what we do every day, but we get a script sometimes a week before, sometimes a day before. We read it on our own. We come in, like I said, Dave sort of coaches us, then we break the script down, we read it out loud, and in several hours we're done. So I don't know what you guys might imagine that we do that is other than that process. It was more shocking for me, some of the Star Wars games, how I was in an isolation tank, and yet Jennifer Hale and I had a beautiful conversation in one part of the game, and I never saw her. But I don't know. I mean, do you have any specific questions as to? Well, they do film us. They do film us while we're recording, and the outtakes on that would probably be priceless, but they do that to have sort of a video reference of our facial expressions. That was unexpected, for me. They only do that level of scrutiny, certainly in video games, for the same reason. They didn't do it for the Star Wars games, but that's something that surprised me, that there would be a camera on me the entire time I'm reading. But it does help, because I see when I see the animated script and I see the characters and how they think and move, it is very similar to our natural gestures. So they must be using what they find on the camera. If they don't know how to animate something, maybe they search through and find how we literally said the line. So that's nothing I would assume about the process. So that is one unique thing. For
that's
Rebel.
something I've noticed that Disney does. They do that with like their animated films, as they film them while they're recording, and then they try to use some of their movements and stuff for the characters in the film. So things kind of like
that's true. Yeah, for Aladdin, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Aladdin, and they've done it did it for Frozen.
Sure.
So speaking of Disney and Star Wars, if you could compare Hera to a Disney character, who would you pick?
Oh my goodness.
You're welcome.
Whoa. Yeah, no, man, I have to get back to you on that one. I'll see you at New York Comic Con. We'll have to chew on that. I mean, I've not seen a character like Hera in animation yet. I mean, someone who has no superpowers, no force sensibilities, if you will, no wizardry abilities, as some of the feminine heroes that I'm thinking of, or heroines in the Disney narratives. She's, obviously she's not human, she's Twi'lek, but she's an ordinary person doing extraordinary things. And I'm trying to think of women who fit that similar description. I mean, not to say that those characters don't face challenges, but her cerebral abilities are matched by her physical capabilities. And each character that I'm thinking of, as you ask this question, they fall short on either side of that spectrum. They may have the physical strength that she has, but they don't have the heart that she has. They may have the cunning wit that she has, but they don't have the brawn. So I'll have to get back to you on that one. Who would you say?
I have two.
Okay.
I have two. I have Sally from Cars because of her mothering nature and stuff like that.
Okay.
And Nala from The Lion King. Those are my two.
Nala. Yeah, that's interesting. I do think about Nala from time to time. That's interesting. I voiced Nala for one of the video games for Disney, or two of them maybe for Lion King. That's interesting. Yes. Okay.
Well, I mean, of course, they don't fill all of the aspects of her, but when I thought about it, those were the two that popped into my head.
Yeah. I would vote for Nala.
Yeah, because she tells Simba what to do.
Exactly. Yes. And she's strong as well, and nurturing. Yeah. Yep. Well done, Teresa.
So you mentioned the filming, and I think that's a really cool aspect of the way they do things at Lucasfilm. And I'm reminded of something that happened on Clone Wars, where I think it was Ashley would use a pencil as a lightsaber and to sort of get into character more. And I guess, do you do anything? Do you do like the finger blaster, or like do you like use any props, while you're filming or recording?
Well, no, I don't. I box. I train like 3 days a week. I box with an MMA fighter dude, and a poor guy. And I also am skilled in weaponry. I don't want to get into a discussion about firearms, but just the idea of protecting oneself is something that has been important to me as a woman. I've seen, people who've experienced physical violence, and I feel more confident being able to take care of myself in that way. I do not own one, but anyway, because I have sort of a literal physical understanding of the tasks at hand, I will sometimes act out those gestures, but I don't like if I pick up a phone, go hello with the hang loose hand gesture. I don't think that goes on. I do think that when we're punching things or jumping or making leaping sounds, we do sort of make those movements physically to mimic them. But no, I don't have like a little blaster that I use. But that's such a great idea. I mean, I'm not a Jedi either. Like, I mean, if I had a lightsaber, yeah, I might need a pencil. Because that's foreign to me. I know how to deal with a handgun, but I don't. Okay, dude, yes, I have lightsabers, but I don't. I have been challenged to duels. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, I don't see that going on in our cast. But that is pretty cool. Yeah, I remember watching the behind-the-scenes stuff, the Darth Maul section with Sam, and I loved watching him physicalize that character. I don't know if you've seen that footage. It's really, really outstanding. Because it makes a difference. He was contorting and
getting into it.
Oh, he did such a good job. Yeah. But yeah, maybe I'll bring a water gun to the next record. I'll tell them, guys, look, I'm just getting into this, so look out.
You guys, I think we have time for one last question each.
Okay.
All right. Well, I guess I'll go first. I've been trying to think of a out-of-the-box question to ask. I don't think I can match Teresa's, but let's imagine that Kanan is off on maybe not a mission, but he's off on a shopping trip. You think Hera's going to sneak into that room and play with the lightsaber?
Never. 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 No way. No way. I think no. No, she's no Ezra. No. I think she leaves that to the professionals, and I don't think she would invade his space. I think she respects him, and she would never do anything to infringe on him in that way. That is his object, and I really think she would just defer and would never even want to touch it. I really don't think so. Sorry, that's like a negative answer, but
no, it says a lot about her character.
Yeah, no way. I don't even think she would touch it, honestly. She needs him to operate that desperately. And even grabbing his lightsaber and playing with it while he's out on a mission would bring a kind of dishonesty and a level of mischief that clouds their goals. And that's when I say Hera's focused, that's how focused she is. Even that energy on her ship would be troublesome. She would never do it. So.
Okay, Eric, do you want to go or do you want me to go?
Go ahead.
Okay, so since it's October and everybody's planning Halloween costumes, have you decided what you're going to be? And if you have, is it Star Wars?
Well, I do have my Laku. I've been threatening to dress up as Hera, and I've ordered Femme Stormtrooper gear and also Bo-Katan gear because, dude, she's awesome. But I have a deal with Courtney Taylor that because we kind of look like sisters. I don't know if you know her. She's an amazing voiceover actress, and she was actually in the Clone Wars. She was also she's in Mass Effect. And anyway, we look very similar, and we were supposed to dress up like Angelina Jolie in Maleficent. We wanted to walk around with a full headdress, and we've been threatening to do that for the holiday season. So we kind of had the eyes for it, I think. So
it's anyone's guess at this point. No, I'm undecided. But those are the contenders.
They're good ones. Very good ones.
The thing is, if I wear green lacquer, it's a little too on the nose, people. Right? It's like, okay, Vanessa, relax. Like, okay, you may be crossing some kind of line there, buddy. Yeah. So there's always the best fail-safe costume if you're ever in a bind. Freudian slip. You get a gray beard and you wear a slip. Done. Done. Any Halloween party, I can't decide. I'm like, Freudian slip, people. Let's do this. It's not that I have a beard lying around. those are easy enough to get at a drugstore, around the holiday season. Anyway. That's awesome.
So, I guess last question. Let's say, Vanessa, you're at the gym again, and someone comes up to you and says, "Hey, aren't you in Star Wars Rebels? What's that all about?" What would be your elevator pitch? I don't know why you're suddenly in an elevator in the gym, but let's just say, someone wants to know what the show is all about. How would you explain it to them and get them to watch?
Oh, man. Well, first of all, I would ask if they're aware of the whole Star Wars saga, and did they ever have any questions about how the Rebel Alliance was formed? And if so, you will definitely want to tune in to get more background information to make the original trilogy even more delicious soul food than it already is. And then I would probably talk about each character and why they're so funny and cool and how you would want to hang out with them anyway. And the fact that you can on a weekly basis is just such a cool gift. And depending on what they look like, I might go into some of the Force elements or some of the more spiritual aspects and why it's so meaningful. But I'd have to get on a nerd meter, where they fall before I really started breaking it down. I try and go easy on strangers. But if they're hardcore, I would flail. Yeah.
Good answer.
Yeah. Yeah, true Star Wars fans, I really bow down. I mean, I don't even pretend to be as knowledgeable as many of them. I learn more every day. That's what's so great about it. There's always more to learn. I mean, how could I forget Kitwar? Seriously, man.
Sorry about that.
No. I mean, but that's the thing. I adored that character, and for some reason, maybe my adoration was so severe that I did not retain his name. But guess what? I just got another nugget today. Thank you, Teresa. So, that's the cool thing. And I'm not a bad person for not remembering the poor Wookiee's name, but I learn more every day. So I humble myself to that task and hope I can fill those shoes and live up to it. So, well, I'd probably high-five the dude in the elevator and then I'd bounce.
I think all of us would agree that you were doing a fantastic job, not only for fandom, but for Star Wars in general and representing the brand. So,
aw, thank you. That means the world to me, seriously. Thank you so much. That's really cool to hear.
I super agree with that, and goodness knows, we've asked Vanessa to do a ton of stuff, and she could not be a better representative for Star Wars. She knows I'm obsessed with her, so it's
That's so funny right now. She asked me questions, and I'm like, of course. When would I ever say no? Do you want to flail with some other fans? I'm like, yeah. All day. So, anyway.
You are too kind, and you guys, we should wrap up.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys. Yeah, it was great talking to you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And thanks, Tracy, for putting this together. That was great.
Yeah, Tracy, thank you.
My pleasure, and thank you guys all for your support, and Vanessa for being awesome. And tomorrow, let's do this!
Yay! Let's do it!
Yeah.
See you guys all on Twitter.
Okay, it's a deal.
Okay, cool. All right, bye. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Have a good one.
Bye.